Today we're going to focus on stress, anxiety, depression, situations that you can help to make better in your life and not have to necessarily live and be stuck with these traumas. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a trauma and we're going to help shrink it down. In essence, take the proverbial mountain and turn it into a molehill. So I've got Chris here today and he's going to help us. So now what we're going to do is I want you to find something that makes you anxious. And I want a good one. One that's going to be at least a 7 to a 10. We're going to use a SUD scale. Now on a SUD scale it rates from 1 to a 10. 1 being the lowest and 10 of course being the highest for the stress, the depression, the anxiety, or the anger piece that we're going to work on. So go ahead and think of one. Cool. Got it. Alright. What does it feel like it's to you on a scale of 1 to 10?
About 7.5.
About 7.5. And what is it? A stress? Is it an anxiety? Is it a depression? Is it an anger? What would you call it?
About stress and anxiety.
Stress and anxiety. Cool. So he's going to do a stress and anxiety. All right. Now, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and double check. Okay. So arm up nice and strong. You said it's a 7 and hold.
7.5.
Good. And it's a 7.5.
It's 7.5.
And hold. It's a 10.
It's a 10.
And hold. Okay, so you notice it tested a lot weaker as a 10, and you probably noticed that as well too, right? So that means it's not a 10, it is around a 7 to a 7.5, so it's the feedback portion of it. Now, what we're going to do is, I want you to go ahead and think of it, okay? Now what I want you to do is I want you to point to it. So where is it going to be, if you could point to that trauma, and if you need to, you can close your eyes and locate it. So we're gonna locate in his morphogenic field in front of him where that trauma is at. So go ahead and point to it. Good, right about there. Okay, so he pointed right about there. Excellent. So what I want you to do now is I want you to reach out, and if you could grab that area, I want you to grab that memory, that trauma, and I want you to bring it back in towards you. So go ahead and do that now. So he's gonna grab it and he's gonna bring it in towards him. Good. Now bring it close to you. Good. Now go ahead and close your eyes. Now the reason I'm having him close his eyes is so that way he can get the rest of his senses more acute. So as you bring it closer and whatnot, how does it feel when you bring that negative anxiety, that negative stressor in your life closer to you?
Makes me want to confront it.
Makes you want to confront it. Good, good. And so you bring it closer, and does it feel good or does it feel bad when your picture is brought closer to you? Doesn't feel very good, does it?
No.
Yeah, absolutely. He actually shifted a little bit backwards when he brought it closer. So go ahead and bring it a little bit closer. There we go. And now if you could describe it, does it feel light? Does it feel heavy?
Feels heavy.
Good. Does it feel staticky? Does it feel smooth?
I'd say staticky.
Staticky. Good. And if it had a color to it, would it be a brighter color or would it be a darker color?
I feel darker.
A darker color, absolutely. So we've got texture, we've got color. It's a darker color. Now, would you consider it more like a muddly black or red or a brown?
I like black.
Black, okay. So it's a negative thing. A lot of times, negative traumas that we have, negative anxieties or stresses, when we see that picture, when we see that visual modality in our mind, in our morphogenic field, it tends to be a darker picture. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this 7.5, this mountain, this thing that causes stress and anxiety. Does it feel good or does it feel like crap?
Like crap.
It feels like crap, okay? And we're going to change it. So now what we're going to do is what I want you to do is in your mind's eye, I want you to make the picture brighter. Make it whiter, make it brighter. So we're going to breathe in through our nose, feel in our belly full air, our lower diaphragm area is what he's focusing on here, and then you're going to breathe out through your mouth. And breathing in through the nose, and breathing out through the mouth. Making it brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. Good. Now how does it feel compared to before when the picture was darker?
Feels lighter.
Feels lighter. Does the the stress, the anxiety feel as bad, or does it feel like it might have changed?
You can change it a little bit.
Good, so it changed a little bit. So first we changed the submodality. We changed the visual submodality, which means if you change the way the picture looks, it affects the memory, it affects the association, it can affect the trauma. Now what we're going to do is I want you to take that and I want you to shrink that picture down. Keep shrinking it down, good, good. Make it about a stamp, the size of a stamp, okay? So now you guys are going to make it about the size of a stamp. Now, how does it feel?
Not like much.
Not like much. Now if you notice, he changed it to the size of a stamp. Now we're going to make it even better. So we changed one of the other submodalities, which is going to be size. That's that feeling. So that's another part of the kinesthetic, so the feeling and the visual modality. So he changes it. He literally makes the thing smaller. He literally shrinks it down, and that changes the effect it has on you. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take that little stamp and I want you to throw it out in front of you and watch it keep going about 30, 40 foot. So take it and just throw it out in front of you and watch it go, watch it go, watch it go, watch it go. And I want you to watch it keep going. And not only is it going to go out, but I want you to watch it drop all the way to the ground, 30, 40, 50 feet. It keeps going until it's just this tiny little booger of a nothing. Good. And once it's there, nod your head. Cool. Now, how does that trauma, how does that stress, we'll call it X, how does that feel for you now?
Seems easier to deal with.
Yeah, it seems easier to deal with. It's no biggie now, right? Now, for you, it was a 7.5 before. How does it feel to you now?
I want to say a 4.
A 4. So he says a 4, but here's the thing, is his body physiology disagrees. Now you might have noticed on camera he literally shifted back a tiny little bit. That usually indicates that that's a negative response. So what we're actually going to do now is we're going to muscle test it. Because remember, the conscious mind is only a tiny, tiny bit. Consciously, we're only processing about 40 bits of information a second. But on the unconscious and subconscious mind, we're talking 40 million bits of information. So the lion's share of it isn't really going on in the conscious mind. So now what we're going to do is we're going to test again. Okay? So we got his arm up, nice and strong. My name's Chris.
My name's Chris.
And hold. Good. So we test strong. So he's Chris. My name's George.
My name's George.
Good, and hold, and he tests very weak, very fast, because he's not George. Okay, my stress, anxiety, what do you want to call it? Stress, anxiety? My stress, anxiety for X.
For X.
For X, right, is a 7.5.
Is a 7.5.
And hold, okay, very weak. Now, what did you say you thought it was a 4? Do you still think it's a 4?
I don't know.
He doesn't know, so he's being open to it. He's feeling some of the change. You're feeling how it affects the body differently. How the anxiety isn't quite as much here. When you think about it now, your chest doesn't tighten up. You're not doing as much of the upper thoracic breathing, right? So you're more relaxed. His temple pressure. If you guys watch closely, when he first talked about it, there was more temple pressure, and he clenched his jaw a little bit. Now it's looser. He's doing okay. So it's a 4. Stress and trauma is a 4.
Stress and trauma is a 4.
And hold, yeah, it's not. What does it feel like to you? I mean, let's be honest.
2.
2. It's a 2.
It's a 2.
And hold, yeah, he wants it to still be there. What does it feel like? Where did it go? Where did it go?
It's hard to focus on it.
Yeah, it's hard to focus on it. It's a 0.
It's a 0.
And hold nice and strong. Good. So what we did is we literally took this man here, and he started out a 7.5. That out of 10 on the SUD scale, that's pretty darn high. So that means 10 could be the highest. So that's a fairly big trauma, fairly big stressor.
It's a big stressor.
Yeah. And then we took that mountain and we literally shrunk it down to a tiny little molehill, to a nothing. How's it feel now?
I feel pretty good.
He's feeling pretty good. So that literally is it, folks. That's literally how you can take a mountain and turn it into a molehill. So if you apply this technique, you too can also help yourselves, because I would love for other people to get help on being able to get rid of these traumas, be it stress, depression, anxiety, anger, fear, and be able to get your life back. That's the whole big thing here. We want to help you evolve into a happier, healthier person. And I think that's okay. Don't you?
Definitely.
Very cool. Is there anything that you'd like to add? Anything that you'd like to add to let everybody know about? What'd you think about it?
Well, if they saw how stressed I was before the activity,
Cool.
they would show
Well,
a little bit more.
you could tell them a little bit about that if you want to. You don't have to get into any details if you don't want to, but you can tell them generally how you felt when he first showed up. Because he first showed up here, because we're doing a one-on-one session for him, and he first showed up. And go ahead and tell him a little about what happened when we first showed up, when you first came into the office.
I was telling Clay about a few of the things that were going on at this very moment in time, and he just brought me in the room and we did the activity without kind of really telling me.
Yeah, it was kind of a surprise, huh?
Yeah.
Now, you had all this other thing going on, and was it fairly stressful, some of the other stuff that was going on right now?
Oh, yeah.
Earlier when
Yeah.
he first started? Cool. So he had to deal with some stuff, and he came in, and his mind was on there. And I wanted his mind to be on the session that we were going to do, because we're going to do a lot of amazing things today. And I wanted to be able to get his mind so it was clear. So what we did is we recentered him. How are you feeling now?
A bit better.
He's feeling better. So that's the whole point, folks. We wanted to be able to get him so he's centered, so he can enjoy life, so he's present and here in the now. Because I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of people over the years where they're not here. They're either thinking about stuff that's going on in the future or stuff that's going on in the past, and they're missing all out on what's going on right now. And so with this technique, you can truly get your life back, and you can allow yourself to not have to be ruled by your fears, your worries, your anxieties, your stresses, your depressions, your angers, the whole list of stuff. Now what you can do is, with this easy to use, simple push button technique, you can help to start to get your life back. Thank you very much.